Alrighty, so today, and I'm going to try to keep this short, because I do a lot of long-form videos, and there's a reason for that. I do a lot of long-form videos because the point of the video is really my feelings on something, and I want to make sure that I get all of it out there, and it's not just condensed, and I don't want anything to be out of context. That's why I do a lot of long videos. But this one's going to be short, because it's a pretty small topic. It's a pretty narrow topic, and it's one that I've covered a lot, but again, I'm going to try to go into a little bit more detail. And this was how to find a good voiceover coach. There are lots of voiceover coaches out there. Tons. And some of them are really bad. And some of them are really good. Some of them cost a lot. Some of them cost very little. Also, there's two different ways to really get help from a coach or a professional. One of them is through text messaging, whether it's through Facebook or like Facebook Messenger, or whether it's through email or actual text. And then there is doing things that are more live on the phone, Skype, that kind of stuff. And it's very important to find a good coach, and not necessarily someone that you can go to on a regular basis and pay hundreds of dollars for like an hour every single week, but it's important to find someone that's in the field that you're wanting to go into that's willing to share as much information as they have to you as possible. That's what a good coach is. And that's the kind of thing that you need to look for. Now, there are tons of terrible coaches, and there are tons of coaches that might work for you and might not work for somebody else, or might work for someone else and might not work for you. I know a lot of different coaches across the board, a lot of different voice actors, lots of voice actors that also do coaching. There's also a lot of voice actors that are also just getting into the field that offer coaching, and I don't really recommend that. For a long, long time, I tried everything not to do coaching at all. Like not to even offer coaching, not to let people know that I did coaching, and not to charge for it, anything like that. And the reason is because I didn't want, while I was still learning myself, to offer people advice that might damage them. But after a while, when I started offering people advice and started Skyping with people for free, and then finding out that their careers were actually taking off and that it was actually helping them a lot, it started making me reconsider the knowledge that I actually had and how helpful it might be. Now, for the most part, like I said multiple times, you can email me and I will try my best. I can't guarantee that I will always be available, but I will try my best to try to email back with whatever help you need. I do that a lot, multiple times a week. And if someone needs a more one-on-one, that's when we arrange Skype and that kind of thing. Now, the way to find a good coach is, number one, someone that has actually worked in the field. That is the most important thing. There are so many voiceover coaches that not only don't really work in the field that they're offering coaching on, but a lot of people that just don't really make enough money doing that particular thing to even offer advice. And money isn't everything. I want to say that. Money isn't everything. It is important, and especially it's important when it comes to a career or any kind of job or business, but it's not the most important thing. Now, when it comes to voiceover, you really want to find someone that works in the field that you're trying to go to, works in the particular area of voiceover. So if you want to get into audiobook, find someone that is well-known and professional at doing audiobook. I know probably like 5 people that are amazing at audiobooks, way more than me. And regardless of how long I've been doing this, voiceover in general, if I was to go into doing audiobook, I would come at it from the angle that I know nothing and just let them spill their informational guts onto my face. It's the weirdest way I could say that, and I'm totally fine with that. And I know these people make a living off doing voiceover, in particularly audiobook, because some of them, I've actually listened to some of their books. I own some of their books. Some of them are voice actors I've talked to personally. Some of them are people that I've watched their career. Some of them, they do other things that I'm very familiar with their resume. So I know that they actually make money off of it. And then there's other people that I know do, offer coaching and audiobook, and I have no idea what audiobook they've done. I've looked it up, can't find anything. And so it's just not something I would ever go to them for. I mean, I don't do audiobook. I think I've done 2, but it's not really something that I really know anything about. So I wouldn't offer audiobook coaching. So you want to make sure something is actually working in that field and is actually making a living off of it. Now, I don't want to go into like how much money are they making off of it, because it's kind of a hard thing to gauge. It's kind of a hard thing to really figure without going too far into their personal expenses and lives. But they need to be making enough that it's worth their time. Now, the way that you can figure that, and the reason I'm using audiobook is just so it's something you can easily search. If you go on Amazon, the #1 place for buying and selling audiobooks, you can actually go and find those books, look up the ratings, how good is the rating, how much does that book sell, and how many reviews does it have, all that kind of stuff. If it has thousands of reviews and they're between 4 and 5 stars, then it's selling really good, because most people that buy a book don't actually leave a review, especially on Amazon. But if there's thousands, then there's probably hundreds of thousands of people who've bought the book. And if this particular voice actor has a whole bunch of other books that they've done, then you can guarantee that they know what they're doing. Also, you can go and listen to the sample. You can listen to it and go, that's high quality. It sounds good. He's making a lot of money. These are the kind of books that I would listen to, all this kind of stuff. Now, the same thing can be said about other people in other fields, like doing character work, video games, stuff like that. Now, for me, you can go and check my IMDb. There's a lot of voice actors who have an IMDb page. So if you want to get into cartoon, video game, you can go and find our IMDb page. Now, not everything that I've done, in fact, a very small percentage of what I've done is actually on IMDb. Now, some of my more notable work is on IMDb. Some of my larger projects are on IMDb, but not everything is on IMDb. And that's also not the stuff that I make the most money off of it. The most of the stuff that I make a lot of money off of is things like cartoon hooligans, people that come back to me multiple times a month, other kids shows, video game projects here and there. That's the kind of stuff that I do mostly. And my YouTube channel is a full resume. There's a whole playlist of the stuff that I've done voiceover for that I've actually been able to find videos on and get a hold of. So you can actually go and find these videos, this stuff with my name on it, this stuff that I've done voiceover for, and actually go and see how good is it? How often am I getting work? How frequently? And with Cartoon Hooligans, it's like multiple videos a month, like 2, sometimes 3. So you can imagine that if I have multiple of those clients, I'm getting lots of stuff that I get to do. And then when it comes to narration and commercial, that's going to be a little bit harder to find good references on, unless it's like big clientele stuff, because not every commercial is going to be on YouTube. Not every commercial can you actually find, and most commercials don't end up in IMDb, unless it's like more, bigger projects. Like maybe like McDonald's or something like that, it'll be on there. But normally, if it's just like a local or regular commercial, just a smaller product being sold, you're probably not going to be able to find it. I've only been able to find a few of the things that I've done, but not a lot. So that one's going to be a little bit harder. So it depends on the area that you're trying to go into. Now, all that to say, you need to be able to do research on the person. You have to be able to do research on the person that you're thinking of asking for voiceover coaching. Number 2 is it can't break your bank. It can't break your budget. It can't be too expensive. You shouldn't be paying someone to coach you more than you'd basically be able to make in a month. That's the way I see it. There's a couple people that I would go to that, are within reason. They're within my budget. It's never a burden to pay them to do 30 minutes or an hour with me. And I know their work. I know their career. They're very friendly. They're very approachable. And they're willing to share. That's the kind of people that I go to. I know there's a lot of people in, like, now this is different. I want to say that this is very, very different if you were to go to LA or New York and you were to go take a class. Class is very different than coaching. People sometimes get those confused. A class is often going to be worth more. There's lots of people that have come to me and wondered, how much I charge and stuff like this. And I'll tell them, which I think right now it's $100 for an hour, maybe. I think that's what I was charging. Very casual. And that's for an hour of covering the basics, you asking me any question you want, me trying to help you set up Fiverr, set up a demo, get the right gear. I cover a lot in an hour. But it's very basic. It's mostly just a very conversation sitting across the table. You get to pick my brain, and I will vomit every bit of information that I have for you. I don't do a lot of like how to find agents, stuff like that, how to build, a bigger studio than this. That's not a lot of the stuff that I cover. It's very, very how to get started, very casual, very friendly. And some people have said you should charge more because this guy charges $1,000 for coaching. And I'm like, whoa, wait. He's not charging $1,000 for coaching. He's charging $1,000 for a class. That is very different. A class is very different than coaching because a class is more structured in a way that gives you every single detail and step by step. A coach is someone that you can go to, present your issues, present your problems, and they will personalize their response and information that they're sharing with you. A class is something that a lot of other people are taking. A lot of people. It's a workshop. Sometimes they actually have homework for you to do. There's one that James Arnold Taylor does, or I don't know if he still does, but I at least know he used to, that was in the studio. And it would have multiple people, like 10, 15 people. And he would do this whole class, and it would be multiple days. It wouldn't just be one day. It would be multiple days, and it would be multiple hours each day. That's the kind of stuff that is for. So be very specific. There's online classes for voiceover, and there's coaching. Don't break your bank. Don't go crazy with it. Whatever you can afford without going into the red, that's more what you should be. My general, anywhere between 100 and 250 for an hour. Anywhere between 100 and 250 is probably a good benchmark. It's probably a good rule of thumbs. Anything less than that, you might not be getting quality coaching. You might not be getting enough information. It might be too short a period of time. It might be more of a headache, and it might not get you what you need. Anything more than that, and you might not be ready for that kind of level of communication with a voiceover coach. Especially if it's a big name voiceover coach. They might charge more. But most of the time, it's between 100 and 250 for an hour. And that's a one-on-one Skype session, nothing more. So, you have to know that they're getting work. You have to be able to find their work, be able to find it, confirm that they're making a living off of it. They have to be approachable, very friendly. They have to be able to, if you can go and email them and them give you some sort of information without selling you something, then they're probably going to be a good buy. Or a good bet. There's some people, if you go to them and you ask them for help, they will go, hey, you should go buy my book. It's this, and this. Or, hey, why don't you go and find my seminar online for a couple hundred, whatever. And then they don't tell you, they don't actually answer the question, even if it's something very, very simple. The average good coach is willing to share a little bit of basic information. Always. Some of the better ones are willing to go a little bit further. until, you actually do sit down. And that's not because they're trying to withhold information to draw you in for coaching. Most of it's because it's very hard to know exactly what kind of information to share and what kind of coaching to give via email without getting more information about you and your particular voice, your particular situation, your particular goals. So sometimes a lot of the information that you're going to get will be very general. But if they're not selling you anything through the email and they're willing to give you something, then it's probably a little bit better of a bet. They're not intimidated by you. There are some coaches that are voice actors that really don't do voiceover that are terrible, that try to give you as little information as possible, even in coaching, because they feel like there's some sort of competition out there. They feel like they would be in competition with you if you knew everything that they knew, which is never the case. There's tons of people that I've helped, I've coached, that I have no fear, even if they sound very similar to me, of them weaseling into not weaseling, but working their way into my clientele, into my work. That's not a problem. That there's enough voiceover out there for everyone. Not everyone on the planet, but every voice actor to some degree. And so I'm not intimidating. Good voiceover coaches are not going to be intimidated. So be able to find their work. They need to be approachable. They need to be willing to share some sort of information for free without selling you something. You have to be able to confirm that they're working, and they can't be too expensive. Now, I don't suggest just typing in voiceover coach on Google and then clicking on whatever the first thing it is you find. A great place to find coaches is actually on YouTube. There's lots of great voiceover coaches. Bill DeWeese, Mike Delgadio. I'm blanking on the others, but there's more. There's not the other one. I was going to say me, but I was like, I don't want to mention me. I don't know how great I am. I'm probably terrible. I'm probably very low on the list. But there's a lot of great ones online. And they actually use YouTube as marketing. They actually use YouTube to kind of make bite-sized chunks to show you what they offer as far as their classes and coaching. And a lot of them, from what I've seen that do that on YouTube, don't charge that much. So that's what you need to do. Look for voiceover coaching, voice actors on YouTube. Find the ones that have the most content, the most subscribers, post regularly. Look for their stuff online. Make sure they're actually working, and then email them. And if they come off friendly, they give you some information without selling you something, and then you ask them how much is for coaching, then you might have found a really good voiceover coach, especially if they work in the field that you're trying to get into, because every single area of voiceover is very, very different. And if you're not trying to tackle that specific area and you go and you learn a whole bunch about that area, it doesn't necessarily carry over to the other areas. All right, so yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Hope that helped you guys out. If you have any specific questions, you can either leave them down in the comment section below, or you can email me. Email is in the description. Subscribe if you're new, bell for notifications. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. But you have to say why. And don't be surprised if I respond. There's been a couple times somebody has left a thumbs down and I've responded. And texting is often things get out of context. When I respond to someone's negative comment, unless they're deliberately attacking me, I'm not attacking them back. I'm not approaching. I'm just trying to stay engaged. Sometimes it's early in the morning. Sometimes I've been up till 9 in the morning and my responses aren't perfect. So I'm just going to apologize in advance if you're one of those. But I don't object to negative comments. Leave those down below, especially if you didn't like the video. I want to know why. So, yeah, and that's it. Until next time, peace.